this is very exciting because I've been a big fan of yours for a long time. So I'm
thank you.
honoured that you're here and that you're joining the podcast. And okay, firstly, on parties, I saw an interview of you and you said this thing, and it was a few years ago, so maybe you have changed. But it was like
right in the deep end.
It was like someone was like, "What's your party trick?" And you were like, "Not knowing when to leave." And I was like, "That's literally me to a T." Is that still you now? This was like 3 years ago, I think.
I definitely was in like my peak partying era.
Right.
I would say 3 years ago. 2022 was a big year for partying for me. But I think I've learnt my lesson. But I think I just go through this thing now where I'm like, am I really lame? Because at times I just don't even turn up. I just, I say I'm going to be there and then I'm not there. Or I'm there and, well, the other day I went to a party and I was wearing leather and it gave me a panic attack.
That is so fair enough.
I was sweating in places I didn't know I was capable of sweating.
So you had to leave.
Yeah, so like my body made me leave.
Yeah.
So I think now I've had to learn my lesson, but it was very true.
Was that because you like were just going out too much and just like, is that why you learnt your lesson? You reined it in sort of by like...
I think so. I think like it started to catch up with me a little bit. And I feel like, I don't know, I've noticed a trend with my friends and myself and like even young Lean that maybe staying in is like the new going out. And I was like, oh God, I don't know if I want to be that person. But a part of me is a little bit there. And I think that, yeah, it just caught up with me. Yeah.
Because you grew up in London, didn't you? Yeah. So I feel like, because I started going out when I was so young here. And then I do think that I peaked in my early 20s. And that's when I really felt like this is what going out should feel like. And then after COVID and during that time, I was like, I think I've become too old for this.
It just catches up with you and like in a way that I think I didn't even expect, because I loved it. I loved being out and I could run on like an hour's sleep on most days, and just separate the awful feeling the next morning as like, it's just a hangover, it's going to be fine. And now I think I'm a bit more, I don't know. I don't want to admit it because there's a part of me that's like, I still have it in me. But I think I'm also just fussy about where I go out now. Whereas in 2022, it could literally be anything and I would be there. And now I'm tiny bit more like, okay, let me think about this and make sure that my night is slightly more tailored.
Like having good standards of like, if I'm going to have a hangover, if I'm going to waste loads of energy, I want to be around the right people.
Yeah.
I want to be at the right place.
Yeah, I don't want to listen to shit music anymore.
Yes.
I think I'm tired of it. I don't want that.
That is so fair. I don't like being around bad chat. So that's why I'm bad at going out sober. And I always say, people are like, yeah, but you can like have fun sober. And I'm like, it's not that I can't have fun sober. It's that I can't actually entertain some of the conversations that I would have to have without alcohol.
My issue is I don't remember a single conversation I had in 2022.
I love 2022. It's like the sort of pinnacle of...
We're like,
of this,
we're going to use that as the pinnacle
of the story. Because also that was like post-lockdown. So that was also a crazy time for everyone, because we were all like rabid sort of animals who hadn't been anywhere for ages.
And that's probably it, because like I was literally going to anything. You know that I'd be there. But I just... it was the chat. Like, I think I just got, you know what? In 2022, I was 23. So my frontal lobe developed and I started being actually genuinely concerned about what conversations I was having with people and whether there was any substance. And also I did this thing where I'd get really fucked up and just promise things to people. It just never happened, obviously.
Like what?
I don't want to say.
Please give one example.
I am the definition of making deals in the smoking area. You know, and also when I make a promise, I spit in my hand and shake on it.
Oh, and then you feel so bad, like undoing that.
I can't explain to you how many things I did not follow through with. There's one I'm thinking of and I don't even want to say it. It was just like, oh yeah, let's like do a custom look for the Lizzo tour. That never fucking happened. That never happened.
I once booked
dinners with people I don't
flights.
give a flying
I once
fuck about.
booked flights with someone to New York that I then had to cancel because like the next day I was like, I don't even know her name now. I met her out and we were like, she'd never been to New York. I was like, let's go to New York. Like, I'm going to show you the best time in New York. And we booked really cheap flights that I then had to cancel.
On the night out?
On the night out in a smoking area.
I think for me, the kind of challenge of that story is how the fuck did you get your phone out and like...
Because of cocaine.
Book a flight. Book a flight.
And in the moment, I kept thinking she was going, but don't do this if you don't actually want to do it. And I was like, no, like we're going to New York.
But that's the classic as well, is someone being like, no, honestly, it's totally fine. You don't have to. And then you being like, no, I want to show you that I'm a really serious person.
Yes, and I mean my word.
It's a big mess.
So you were doing a lot of that kind of, but also 23. That's that's young.
It's
like
young,
that's
and
when
it's a great time to be doing it.
100%.
And also, I just got out of loads of absolutely mental like relationship situations, and I was quite happy to be aloof, for lack of better words,
and single
and open.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's also the funnest, I guess, going out when you are like single and open.
But single and traumatized, I think, is actually the best time to go out. Because there's one thing about going out when you're single, but single and traumatized, now that's a good night out.
Yeah, but like that's where I make terrible
that's where
decisions,
the rages are. Single and traumatized, to be fair, to give context, I am like really, really happy in my relationship right now. Have a really good living situation. Like have a house I feel really comfortable in and stuff. And yeah, I was just single and traumatized. It was where I was at that time.
But that was also, again, because I broke up with my ex-boyfriend during like the first or second lockdown. And then again in like 2022, I was really unhinged.
Yeah.
And getting with like just people that I really shouldn't have been getting with. And that's where single and traumatized, I'm not so sure if it's good for me.
No, it's not good for you. No one said it was good for you.
It's just the most fun.
But it's the most fun.
But do you, because also, right, have you got... presumably you're going out less now, but like I can imagine as you like at the age of 23, like you were well known, and like that's when you're also going to be like, shit, like I'm promising stuff to people in smoking areas and they know who I am, and like that's
honestly, the reason why single and traumatized is so good as well is I just didn't really give a fuck about consequences either. I think I was just like, it's really funny, and it's also quite sad because I think I was just on one like 100 miles an hour, didn't really care what people said. And because I was traumatized, I felt a bit like jaded, but in like a cool way.
Yeah, you know, kind of numb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, sad in hindsight. But honestly, when it was happening, it was the best time ever.
Okay.
Because I kind of, it's weird to say this now, but I knew it had an expiry date. So I was like, I am going to live this time like I have never lived before. Like this is going to be the craziest time for me, and I'm just going to go with it.
That's really cool, and also quite like grown up in a way.
It is, but I knew it was going to bite my ass later on, and it did really badly. But I was going to.
It did in terms of just like it.
Oh, I went from like having the highest year of my life in all senses of the word, to then going into like one of the darkest places, which I think like. We were talking about Sean Fay. I was even reading Love in Exile. Like, I think that ultimately a high year or really high times or going out loads sometimes can unfortunately mean that you are avoiding something maybe you need to face. And in my case, I definitely just was like, I'm not going to deal with my problems. I'm just going to go and have fun, which was amazing. And honestly, sometimes I envy her, that version of me, because I wish I could just be as aloof as I was then. But I think just reality hit and I just got really like unwell, and you go out that much, drink that much, you know, it really, it can hurt, you know? And, but I had a great time.
Well, I think it's also like, it's so understandable that that's how you would like deal with that period in your life if you felt like you could, by just like going out and having loads of fun. And then it's like the duality of being a human, especially with mental health, is that like you can both like be that person and then also be like, shit, now I have to deal with what I've been suppressing. And
for sure.
And if you are going out and like drinking or whatever, it does just suddenly come to the surface in quite a violent way.
Yeah, it was like, you
have got to stop
violent.
Now. Yeah.
But at the same time, when I was going through my lows, I did know that I was capable of being that girl too. So every now and then when like a Saturday did arise where I was like, you know what, I can go out, I would still do it. So it's kind of like, I'm at a point now where I feel like a good duality between the two. If I've got it in me, I'll definitely do it. But I find it way easier to say no now than ever before.
But that's really, can I just say, like, not just like blow smoke up your ass, but I really struggle with when I'm really depressed, I can't see it ever ending. And then it suddenly does, and then it is over.
Yeah.
But the insight of like knowing when you were really bad that I am still that person, that's an amazing like capacity to have, because it's sometimes
like a
really hard
version,
to reach
but yeah.
that. Like, because that's the problem with like mental illness, is that it can feel so unbelievably permanent. Even if it's like a day, you're like, this is never gonna end, this is my new normal.
No, it was a really, like, I had a very, very rough 2 years after 2023. And also all of that period is me making a second album as well. So it's like, I actually wrote all of my second album in the high of 2022 and then made it in the low of 2023 and 24. And that was like a fucking roller coaster.
And do you
for lack
think
of better words.
that was it making it worse? Like, was it meaning you were delving like more into it, or was it cathartic, or like both of those?
It was
things
ironic.
At once?
It was ironic because I'd written the whole album in 2022
when you were on
much.
this high.
Yeah, and then maybe like one sad song in 2023, and then producing a record that I had written in my highest. It's a little bit like when you get a tax bill for your best year and your worst year. Yeah, it just felt like that, really. Fuckery, big fuckery.
And then looking at it all and being like, this is not like...
Like I did it, I've done it now, it's fine. But it was just really hard. And hard is interesting because it doesn't mean that good times don't happen. They definitely still do. But when you look at the years in hindsight, there is pain there and it hurts. So I feel like I'm really grateful for 2022 because knowing that I could have such a high year and such a happy year, even if it was coping mechanisms, it helped me almost get through the years after that, you know?
And how do you feel like now? Like, how do you feel about like performing that album, for example? Do you associate, what do you feel when you think about that? And like...
I feel pretty good. I feel very resilient.
Yeah.
Like I feel very, I went out for a meal with my boyfriend the other day and I'm really bad at conversations at like when I eat a meal because I love food, that my whole entire being becomes what's going to be in front of me to the point where I go slightly non-verbal. So I've started to I've decided to try and like think of questions to ask my boyfriend. When I eat, because I just
get
want to
out
play
a little notepad.
No, just think in my mind, you know.
What?
And like I also just have a tendency to go on Wordle when I'm hungry,
Right.
because I just don't want to talk. I just want to think about the meal. And it was pasta too, so I was really excited. I love pasta.
Where were you for dinner?
In Marrakesh.
Oh, you're in Marrakesh.
Pasta in Marrakesh.
Pasta in Marrakesh.
The new album by Joy Crookes.
Yeah, Single and Traumatized and then Pasta in Marrakesh. That's the B-side.
So I was really excited about the pasta and I was like, right, we're just going to fucking ask them a question because I just need some talking now. And and it's funny because my manager's here. She does say, we've lost her. It does happen sometimes. I'm just gone. And I just said to him, and I tried to think of something really profound, like I was on the Flow app or something like that. And I was like, so what's the most like surprising thing about me now we've been together 2 years that you like didn't expect at the beginning, but it's like you've seen now? And he was like, what the fuck are you on about? I was like, I'm just trying to make
it's like ChatGPT, like come out to the table.
I was like, I'm just trying to make some conversation. And he was like, okay. And he went silent and I was like, oh, this is going well. And then he said the sweetest thing I've ever heard. Then I started crying and then I was like,
I'm hungry.
All my focus is on the food.
Yeah, I need the pasta.
But he just said that he thinks that when we met, I'd started getting pretty unwell and he watched that and saw me really struggling. Like I was very bad. And I was a very sick person. And he said that when I decided that I was going to do something, I did everything in my power to do that. I followed through with it. And then I got to the other side. And he was like, I've never seen anyone do that before. Like that level of resilience. And that's not me getting on a fucking podcast to toot my own horn. But I do feel like no one's ever put it like that to me, apart from Charlie. But just to put it that way and be like, look at how you decided something and then you did it and it worked and you didn't ask for my help. You just went and embarked on a journey of getting better and you chose to do that. I just started crying. I was like, damn.
That's an amazing thing.
I haven't actually thought about that, but you're right. And so I guess that entire process helps me get to a point where I'm like, no, I don't want to go to that party. No, I don't want to get fucked up because I think that might actually not be good for me right now. Or yeah, I'm super down to absolutely let my hair down and not feel bad about it and just now make a couple more decisions that feel better informed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I think remember that like you're in a place now where you have that like you know what you need and you know what you don't need.
Yeah,
and you can trust your
almost. I mean,
100%.
I'm 26.
No one's
be more
ever going
shit.
to get to a point in their lives where they completely get that. But I just think not being too hard on yourself because again, it's like what's the point? You know, like if you want to have fun, have fun. If you want to have a different form of fun, because you were just in Paris Fashion Week. What's that? What's your? Did you go to parties there?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And how did you find it?
Well, I had to leave because I started sweating profusely.
Oh,
that
was where you were wearing the leather.
Yeah, and then it was sweet Stella McCartney, and then I saw her on the train back, and she asked me. I was like, the show was great, and she was like, yeah, do you enjoy it? And I was like, it was great. I came to the afters, but then I had a panic attack out of nowhere, and then she was like, meditation in a brown bag, and I was like, great, I'll just keep that in mind. Thanks, Stella. And so me and Stella
should do that as a product.
Stella and I just chopping it up about panic attacks on the Eurostar. So that was weird because in full honesty, I didn't actually feel bad. I was having a really nice time and it was really fun. And then it just came out of nowhere. So I'm convinced it might have been the leather. I've never really worn leather trousers, but it definitely induces things down there that I just didn't think could happen.
But also it's like I can't wear necklaces or anything that chokes my neck because I get really angry, especially on stage. If I wore like a tight necklace, I would have a panic attack. So I think it's like once you start thinking about like how the trousers feel, you hyperfixate on it and then it feels like you are stuck in there.
And you can smoke inside in Paris.
Yeah, that is lit though.
It's amazing. So I was there like fucking caning cigarillos and
I just love Paris.
And it's not, you don't get any air. So that wasn't good.
Yeah. No, that's a lot.
But I forgot about that because I just love them. So
same. And I was in Berlin recently and you can smoke everywhere in Berlin. Like everywhere. And it's very, and then I leave and I'm like, oh, I actually don't miss this smell of like, it being in my pores for like 5 days afterwards.
I just hate when it gets in my clothes.
Yeah, and that's the thing when you're inside smoking.
Yeah,
but there's something so fucking chic about like being in France and smoking a Vogue inside.
Yeah. I mean, I was just on roll-ups, but just like in the club in leather, just trying to get this fucking thing to roll.
Yeah, I mean, that does sound fun, but I do feel like it's like, do you feel, when you perform, this is such an unrelatable question for anyone else listening, but when you perform, do you try on the stuff you wear for performances before?
Yeah.
You do.
Well, it depends
and see how it feels.
Because
I've once made the mistake of wearing a full leather 2-piece outfit on stage at quite a big show. And then I was like really stuck in it and it was sticking to me and it really distracted me. And I wish I'd have like thought about that. Have you ever had that?
I do, but I think no one ever prepares you for, as soon as the adrenaline kicks in, how it feels to wear anything with adrenaline. Because all I ever really want to do when that adrenaline happens is just take off all my clothes and lie on the tiled floor, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly
and
what
just
you
like
mean.
splatter water all over myself. I mean, the most recent show we did was for War Child and I just there was like a phantom shit following me everywhere.
What, like a smell?
No, like an actual, like I didn't know if it was going to come out of me or not type shit.
Oh, I see, like an actual shit. It's like the lingering smell of shit.
No, a phantom shit. It just wouldn't, like I didn't know if it was going to happen or not.
Right, and was that like a nervous
belly
thing?
Yeah. So everyone was like, it's fine, it's nerves. And I was like, I just don't know. I feel
it's also not worth risking it.
Well, exactly.
You know what I mean?
But I kept trying, but then like, And then finally I tried, and then everyone clapped for me outside the toilet.
Nice.
Which was really nice.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that was actually very, very
Do you
stressful.
That's also because I get really bad hypochondria when I'm on tour and performing, so I think I'm dying like all the time.
Oh no, that I don't.
You don't get that.
I think that might be a you thing.
No, it is a me thing. I have severe hypochondria. I've called the GP like 5 times in the last week.
No.
Yeah, I've got really bad like health anxiety.
Oh no.
It's like quite. But when I'm
Do you
touring,
feel like COVID exacerbated that?
No, not at all, because COVID was real. So like, and when I got COVID, I was like, oh, it's fine. Like having like, obviously for some people it was fast.
So you're just always fearful.
But it's that I have like really, so I have anxiety-induced like stomach issues basically.
Yeah.
And then what happens is, like I have a bit in my last show about this, but like if somebody told me about like a severe illness that they have, I will then just convince myself I have it for like days. And then I'll have to go to the doctor and get them to tell me that I don't have it. But so when I was on tour, my stomach was just already like all over the place.
Yeah.
And then I'd have irrational fears that I was going to shit myself on stage, because I'd be like, what if I fart? And then I'm shit myself.
Yeah, I think about that all the time.
Yeah, and it could happen. Like it's not out of the question.
It's not out of the question, but it's not going to happen.
I know, but like it could, it is possible.
Yeah.
It happened to Jack Whitehall. He once did a whole shit while he was on stage and he had just finished the show.
But you're not Jack Whitehall.
How did we get here? So you love food. You're big like.
Oh, we're going backwards. We're going. No, we've done the colon.
We're going back up.
We're going back up to the intestines.
Digestion.
Digestion.
Yeah.
I do love food. Yeah.
Do you like hosting like dinner parties?
Yeah.
Do you? And do you cook for like people?
Yeah, all the
like
time.
a lot. Like, would you cook for like a big group of people?
Yeah, I've done it. I did Christmas this year. Moya,
Wow.
my partner, and I did. My partner, lol. I always sound like a big old lady when I do that one. My boyfriend, and we made a roast for like the whole family.
Wow, that's nice.
But we had like people over a week ago, and I made a roast for them. And also, I do like football at mine too. So if like Arsenal's on, I'll just have them on the telly, and then instead of doing like a sat down dinner party, because I don't actually love the sit down part. I don't mind it if it's family, but with friends I actually prefer it to be a free for all. So I just like make a buffet
stuff there.
Yeah, and we have a kitchen
and then
island.
People can come and go as well. It's
yeah,
not like
yeah,
everyone
just
has
help
to be there at
yourself.
the same time.
Yeah. Or just like make an enormous amount of pasta, and then just everyone can help themselves.
That's a good idea. Or like a lasagna or something like that.
Yeah,
And then people can just like dig into it.
Yeah.
Do you, what's your like at the moment favourite place to eat in London?
It's a really good question.
I mean, I feel like it's every TikTok I ever see now. It's like, best place to eat in London.
I think for me, I don't go in with what's the best.
Yeah.
I actually go with what I'm craving.
Okay.
And I only ever crave really my mum's food.
Wow.
So when she's not here, I have to go and like work out how to
get that.
Yeah. And I'm from Bangladesh. So
Okay.
I'm like trying to find Bangladeshi restaurants that hit the same way that
And
my
have you
mum's
found a
hits.
good one?
Yeah, they're all right, but nothing hits like
Not
hers.
like your mum's food.
She's a chef, so it's like her
see.
food is actually ridiculous.
Wow.
Like Bengalis come to London.
And has
eat her
she
food.
taught you?
Yeah, she's teaching me, yeah. And I definitely get like my ability to cook from her.
Yeah.
But our food is so, I think people hear Bangladeshi food and they just think curries, but our food is so fragrant.
Yeah, amazing.
That's like my number one food at the moment, and also probably for the rest of my life, just because it's so specific and it's my home food.
And it's comforting.
And it's like delicious, yeah, and it's comforting. And obviously with, I think, not to make it food philosophical, but I do think that because I don't spend enough time at home, or like I'm always running around London or running around fecking anywhere, to come back to a meal that feels so incredibly grounding, it just tastes even better to me. And that's why I like pasta as well.
Yeah.
Love a spag bowl. I make a good spag bowl as well.
Really?
I think my favourite foods are Bangladeshi and Italian food.
Okay.
Easily.
You should do like a
Invent
a dish.
I don't think I need to. Also, I want this to be known, and I want people to quote me on this.
Stop.
Fusion food needs to fucking stop.
What
Stop
did I have the other
it.
day? It was a
Nobody
really
asked.
weird fusion.
Nobody fucking asked. Someone did like
Italian
Ecuadorian,
Japanese fusion.
Yeah, that's what that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that is fair.
What was it, like a carbonara sashimi or some shit?
It was like I can't remember what it was. I'm very not a foodie.
I just want to cry when I hear that.
Anything.
I also, what was one I saw the other day and I was just like, this ought to be illegal. I don't know, like I've heard about like Ecuadorian and it could be anything. And it just makes me very, very sad. And I feel like it should be not allowed.
And
oh my God, I know what it was. It was Italian tacos.
That sounds
It
amazing.
actually made me burp thinking about it.
That sounds amazing.
It was
Italian
grim.
tacos, so like meatballs and stuff like in a taco. Sounds kind of amazing.
You're the people that keep fusion food alive, and that really upsets me. Okay.
No, because I have to tell you, I actually agree. Like, I don't get
you do. Okay,
yeah, I completely agree. But also, I'm not so invested in food that like I've ever even noticed it being as much of a thing as maybe like you do.
I'm so invested in food. Actually, I feel like one of my greatest passions in life is food. And I'm not going to lie, and I'm not like in a TikTok way. I think the best type of restaurant, just while I'm at it, I'm just going to tell you more my hot takes and how I feel. Mm-hmm. The best type of restaurant, I think, because I went to a restaurant yesterday in Paris and it was a Vietnamese restaurant and they only had 2 things on the menu. Type of restaurant, and it was small and it wasn't trying to make you have the feckin' culinary experience. It was giving you the food and you were eating it and it banged and you go home, and that is just enough for me. Like the whole, I don't know, all like the flouncy stuff, I don't need it.
I don't like that.
I just need the food to be really good and I can slurp and make the noises and go home.
Yeah, and not be like really. But this is kind of what I was...
And be affordable. Like, it doesn't have to be...
and not
like,
be pretentious and like really exclusionary of like, I don't feel
it's
like
food.
I'm dressed
Everyone
right
eats
to
it.
be here, or like...
Exactly. Or like something really tight that I can't just get my belly out in.
Yes.
If I'm eating.
Yeah.
I don't like that either.
Yeah, well, because it's like, it's very hard to like fully relax while you're eating if you're wearing something where you feel like... And if you're like in heels, this is why I'm slightly opposed to like really fancy restaurants like Mayfair kind of restaurants where
I take myself to Mayfair restaurants in
a dress
tracksuits.
code.
Yeah, I go in tracksuits. If the food's great, I'll go in a tracksuit.
Yeah.
Because I want it, like not in like a Jess Glynn way. I think she got kicked out.
That is what was just popping into my head.
not in a Jess Glynn way, because that's it's embarrassing.
What was that again? It was that
I just remember it being embarrassing.
She was told she couldn't come in because there was a dress code. Yeah.
And then to make a rack about it online and just be in the position that we're all in, it's just like, you didn't get in, you could literally just put some nice trousers on, it's totally fine. But I have taken myself to nice restaurants in tracksuits, and not because I'm trying to make a point, just because it's like genuinely, if it's about the food, they don't really care about that.
Yeah.
The other thing actually that I want to get off my chest.
While we're here. I'm here. I'm all ears.
It does involve white people and it involves parties as well.
Go on.
Stop fucking serving crisps. Stop it. Charlie's exempt because she actually cooks focaccia and shit at her parties. And there's not a single Charlie party I've been to where she hasn't served food. Brown and black people serve food at parties. You guys are happy if there's fucking hula hoops. And I want it to stop. I want it to end. I am half white and I love my Irish family.
The thing is, right, I also agree, but I like don't...
You need to serve food at parties. You have to do it.
Well, it depends though, because I've had people on this podcast who are like opposed to there being food at parties.
But that's because they're too busy about their lip line or whatever. You can reapply it afterwards.
No, it's more, I think it depends what kind of party it's like. Fat Tony was like, or was it Jodie Harsh maybe, was like food at parties, because she's like, I'm a DJ, like I don't want people to be eating like while like
no one said like a DJ party.
Right, you mean like a house, like in a house. Yeah.
You need to serve food at house parties.
I have to say, just kettle crisps all the way. I will always have a bowl of kettle crisps.
I do like, I buy Lindt and put like Lindt chocolate like wrapped up on a plate and give that to people. And I have done the crisp thing because I appreciate that I have to cater to my white friends' needs.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because
I do love them to bits. I just want them to know that that should not be the way.
Do you know what it is? And like, I also I only host once a year. I do Burns Night. It's the only time I ever host is here in January for Burns Night. And we don't do crisps. We do like just like Scottish food, and my friend cooks it all. But say, for example, if I was having a group of people around, I'll be late. I've said I'm going to cook dinner. I'm on my way home. They're all on their way to my house. I haven't got the ingredients for dinner. I'm going to have to get
pizza.
Deliveroo. I quickly go to the shop to get crisps so that when they arrive and I say, by the way, sorry, I'm not cooking. Like, we're going to have to order food. I can at least offer them some consolation crisps.
I just don't. I don't even.
But I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to do it anymore.
I don't even know what to say anymore. But I want you to know that it really actually quite upsets me.
Okay, well that's I think a good thing to get off your chest.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it is it's also a very English thing. It's like crisps and hummus in the park.
We're all about to get demolished and you're giving me crisps and hummus.
Crisps and hummus.
And you're shocked that I'm throwing up in your bathroom. Yeah. That's where it comes down to, you know? Like, I do house parties twice a year at mine now. We've decided to make it.
What are the occasions?
Christmas party.
Okay.
And we have a summer party.
Nice.
And the summer party, like, it was the first one we did. We just moved into this house in Peckham. Really nice. Like, finally have like a little bit of a garden, whatever. And I made sure that when people walked in, I ordered like 100 Jamaican patties and they were all splayed out in the kitchen. All you had to do is shove them in the oven for a bit and then they were good to go. So there were patties everywhere.
That's a very good greeting.
It is. And also they were like little mini ones as well. So they were like easy to eat, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously you got to do the meat and veg thing too. And then not as in like there's a meat one.
Yeah,
meat patty
and a vegetarian one.
And then I did, at a certain point in the night, I order like 24 pizzas. And not like hyper bougie ones, just like pizzas. And they're gone in like 5 seconds. But that, I can actually put, God forbid this actually happens, but touch wood, no one has thrown up in my house.
Yeah. Because they're lining their stomachs
They're
properly.
fed.
Yeah.
But also you want to eat. Like
also,
you do.
pizza is like the perfect thing to have. And then you don't have to clean it up. It's just like the box.
No.
And then
we've got a fire pit in the back, so you just shove the cardboard in the
epic.
fire.
Yeah.
It's a pretty amazing thing. Yeah. Like, I appreciate that some of my friends like make curries and stuff, and I would do that, but it's like they're proper rager parties. So it's just better to have food that they can eat.
No, it's very like, you know, in a high school movie in America and there's just like pizza boxes on the side. It's like what you should have at a house party because it's just easy.
Yeah.
You pick up a slice of pizza. Like, I couldn't be like dealing with eating a proper meal at a party that I need like cutlery in a bowl for.
But we do still eat proper meals at parties
Not
too.
crisps.
Not crisps. No. Like, one of my favorites is when I go to like Caribbean parties and they like, you have a nice little buffet before you get like mash up and then you get mash up.
Yeah.
But then there's still things you can nibble on when you are mash up, which is great.
Yeah, no, listen, I completely agree. And I will be sending that clip to my mum.
No more hummus,
because
mama.
that is so
no more
my mum.
Tzatziki or whatever.
My
it's
mum
called.
is so Miss Kettle Chips.
Yeah,
like...
no, it can't be anymore. It can't be. Or a cocktail sausage. God help me.
Well, the thing is, I've just started eating
It's
meat
not a holy
after...
communion. We're getting mashed. It's not a holy communion.
I've just started eating meat after like a lifetime of being a vegetarian.
What made you change?
I was really tired like a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And so someone was like, just try and eat chicken. And then my energy levels just it was crazy. It was like day to night. And suddenly I was like, oh my God, like
really silly,
I don't need to sleep like 10 hours a night anymore. Like I actually can like sleep for 6 hours and wake up and not be like, I
love that you went from like vegetarian. Were you eating fish before that?
I was eating fish.
Okay, so it was just meat.
But that was what happened was I got really bad food poisoning from fish last summer. And then I was like, I have to stop eating fish because I keep getting sick from it. And so someone was like, you're going to have to start eating meat if you want to be like someone that doesn't look like tired all the time.
Yeah.
And then I started eating
What's your favourite
chicken.
meat?
Well, I've only really had chicken and duck, and then I had a sausage the other day and it was amazing. But so I haven't had a cocktail sausage.
What kind of sausage was it?
It was like an M&S, like Cumberland.
Have you tried Richmond sausage yet?
No.
They're really bad for you and so yummy.
And really good. Okay. With a bit of ketchup. That's what I was like.
With ketchup and a little bit of sriracha. Just a tiny drop. It makes such a difference. It's
Okay.
Really
well, I'm at the beginning of that
sausage
journey.
Butty. Sausage butty.
Oh, yeah. See, I've not had that.
Kerrygold in it. Squeeze the sausages in so they're just like cramped in the sandwich. Gorgeous.
Because you know what it is, right? Because when you eat fake sausages for your whole life, for like, which I have done.
No shade to Linda.
No shade to her or any of them, but then you have a real sausage and you're like, oh, like I've literally been eating the cardboard version of this thing that exists.
But I do love veggie sausages, to be fair.
I love the Linda McCartney ones.
Yeah, she's the best.
And the Richmond veggie sausages are also really good.
They're yummy. Yeah.
But
you're just having a B-Tech versions of the
exactly,
real thing.
And then you taste it and you're like, oh my God, this is, and it's like, because I've been eating so much fake chicken, then when I had real chicken, I was like, oh my God, this is just like the better version.
Did you not feel a bit sick? Like,
not at all. And then I have been, honestly, it's all I've been eating is chicken. So do you prefer to have a roast at home? Than
no, I have it anywhere.
Where's your favourite roast place in London?
Right now, the Victoria in Peckham.
Okay.
But it's just because it's really close to me.
Okay, but it's a good...
Yeah, it's banging.
Yeah, okay.
But it's just nearby. But to be honest with you, I'm going to be totally real. I've started making my own roasts and I make my own Yorkshire puddings. I make my own gravy. Everything I make myself and it is really banging.
Yeah, and that's why you're like, and you just have crisps.
And you just
and I turned up to your house and you just had crisps.
Yeah, exactly.
I made a Yorkshire pudding from scratch and you had Ulus in a bowl.
Who the fuck?
It's so understandable because I feel like you sound like someone who's a very good host. Have you been like that since you've like moved out from home? Have you liked having people around?
I've never really, in honesty, I do like hosting people, but I've never really had like the space to host people up until like literally just August gone. So
Such
this
a nice
is kind
feeling.
of the first time. Like all my flats were very small and I would try and have dinners and stuff, but I could get like 4 people around a table. So it's really nice to have like a home and be able to do that and actually host people. But yeah, I think I've always had it in me, but I think it's because my mum is a really good host as well.
Right. And what do you think is like the sort of like key to who you invite to something at your house? Do you invite like, do you think you have to invite people who sort of all gonna like...
Doesn't matter because I'm cooking. I'm basically non-verbal.
Yeah, but like, so to make sure that everybody gets on, that's the thing I think about.
I don't care about that. I think,
don't care. I get so stressed that like I put the wrong group of people in a room together.
This is a post FLD frontal lobe development. I would say grow up and just talk to people and get on.
But that's not...
Because I used to be like that and be like, I need to kind of cater this evening. And now I'm like, if you're having a hard time, it's actually probably your fault. Which is maybe harsh, but I do think
Paris Hilton, stop being poor.
No, I never said that. I never said that. But I just think that like we're capable of just being like, one thing I think all my friends are really kind and sweet people.
And welcoming,
or at least most of them are. And all you have to do is contribute and maybe there'll be some middle ground and that's it. And I can't be bothered with like trying to make sure that all the right people are in the right room because it just starts to get on my nerves and I actually just love everyone quite equally. So I'm quite happy for them to just...
Yeah, I think that's the thing that...
It's like the house parties are mental. There are people like that I did my communion with and there's people there that like, I don't know, help me shave my eyebrows or something, you know, like there's such a crazy mix of people, but I do just genuinely believe you can get on with everyone.
Where did you used to go, like when you were growing up in London, where would you go? Where was like your first sort of night out?
Corsica.
Really? Yeah, that was...
Corsica Studio.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Corsica Studios. And I used to go when I was very young to Corsica Studios.
Really? Like how old?
Just like 16, 17 and like... probably shouldn't say that, but I've said it now. But yeah,
no, I mean, but we all did.
All the bouncers are in prison, so
I had a fake ID, and the name that I'd use was, I was obsessed with Gossip Girl and I was obsessed with the OC, so I'd merged like 2 of the main characters' names together. So I was called like Marissa Vanderwoodson or something. It's most like obviously not real name.
It does suit you though.
Thank you
I
so
think
much.
with like your cows, I'd be like Vandermosten, absolutely getting. Yeah, you're
yeah,
fine.
exactly.
Yeah. Bit Dutch.
Yeah.
Please walk in.
Royalty. Yeah, sure,
Go
come
on.
in. But they would let me in with that like obviously made up name, and that's really on them, not us. Did you then go, because my first like proper like going out, I guess not to like an underage rave, was Bussy Building when I was like 17. And that was the first time I went to South London because I grew up in Camden.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up here, like in Camden.
No, yeah, Bussy Building was also some of my first nights out as well at like actual clubs. I did have friends that would have raves and stuff, but like out of the London clubs, it would be Corsica and then Bussy. But I grew up in South London, so that makes
so
sense.
both of them.
Yeah.
Well, South London just is more fun.
Yeah, and Coronet as well. Used to have big nights in Elephant and Castle when I grew up in Elephant. But yeah, those were kind of mental. So I think I was just after that, and Corsica was like the new club to hang out in.
Well, it was just also, I think, growing up in London, especially at that time, I feel like now it's not as fun for people who are like turning 18, but then it still was like, at least there were fun places to go. And like, even if you were underage, you could still go out and have fun. Whereas I think now it's almost impossible to.
Yeah, for sure.
Everyone's.
But also London's just like, can I have 30 quid for me to have a potentially shit night on the door? It's like,
and then I'm going to spend like £18 on a drink.
On a drink, that's a single shot.
It's not even got like
and they confiscate all sorts at the door too, so you definitely can't have a good time.
So is your album coming out this summer?
It's going to come out this year.
Yeah. Okay. And you're doing Glastonbury?
Yes.
So when you, for example, you've done Glastonbury before, do you then like go out and enjoy the festival after you've performed?
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Last time I was on a roll. I was having lots of mushroom pasta, and all I did was sit with my best mate. We were both off our twitties and talking about the Bay of Pigs, 1962. And literally, I think I left a little patch of wee on that grass because I was laughing
so much.
The hardest I've ever laughed. I just played Pyramid Stage and now I was talking about the Bay of Pigs. I was like, you can't make it up.
And what was your take on the Bay of Pigs? What was
I don't know. I think it was like, we might have been talking about confrontation and dealing with confrontation. And then like my best mate went,
popped into your head.
1962 Bay of Pigs. And I just rolled over. I was wetting myself. I think Riz Ahmed tried to come and say hi to me and my friends.
You were like, no.
And I had to be like, I love you so much. I can't talk. I cannot talk. Like my rib cage is just like exploding right now. My best friend Nay, he's very, very funny young man. And I don't know where it came out of, but he just thought we should talk about the Bay of Pigs. And it's just like, I never ever forget
that moment.
Yeah.
No, that's like, I'll never forget the first time I did mushrooms. I was with my best friend Anna at a festival, and I started saying Ant from like Ant and Dec had gone into rehab that week, and I went to Anna. I was lying on the grass like rubbing myself in the like condensation of the grass, and I went, oh, like Ant from Ant and Dec's gone to rehab this week, and Anna just looks over me and she goes, yeah, no thanks to you. And I was so shrieky. I like laughed for like 3 hours. It was just so perfectly timed. And I was like, oh my God, I made him go to rehab.
People are so fucking funny. And everything just like, I feel like jokes become 4D.
100%. And also they last like so much longer, but in the best way that like, even that's a story that both of those stories, they still are funny now. It's not like it was just like in the moment, like Bay of Pigs, that's really funny for that to be the thing that he came out with. But in the moment, you're like, how has your brain even thought of that now?
I was just shitting myself. It was too funny. The day started with Bay of Pigs and it ended with me feeling really unsafe about someone on the team, and then me going to Charlie and being like, I don't like it. I don't like him. I feel unsafe. He's not, because I also have a high voice too, or drunk voice.
Right.
I go really demure when I'm very drunk.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Right. Oh, really?
Eddie's such a sweet little doggy. Are you sure you don't want some water? Here's some water. Okay. So I go into the place.
I can't really imagine it.
Well, you're just gonna have to get fucked up. Yeah,
God willing.
And then I was like, I don't trust this person on the team, and he was really freaking me out. And every time I looked at him, he turned into a black hole. So I went and found Charlie, and then I wrote a song called "I Know You'd Kill," because basically Charlie was like, you know, we would kill for you. Like Nay and I would 100% kill for you. And I was like, okay, thank you. That's making me feel much safer.
Yes, I love that. That's such a good thing to say to someone, like in that situation.
And then I felt suddenly fine. And then it's annoying because at Glastonbury, I feel like you always want a mission. And then when that mission was over, I was like, oh, right, well, what's my next thing I can start like worrying about or complaining about, or just like the next like 7 miles.
Conspiring about as well. Yeah, that's what me and my friends love to do, is we sort of decide like something that's happening to us that actually probably isn't even happening to us. And like someone's out to get us and we're like on
I
this
became
mission.
obsessed with spiders afterwards.
Right, okay.
Because the number 8 is the infinity number.
Yes.
And then I was like at the Arturius. Is it the spider stage?
Yeah, the Arcadia.
Arcadia. And then I was like, spiders have 8 legs. And there's the number 8 is in the infinity. And Charlie was like, are you all right? And I was like, Charlie, I'm just looking for answers. I'm not looking for answers. She's like, okay. And then I turned to her and I was like, what if we're all just stupid dolphins? And she's like, dolphins are really smart. And I was like, exactly.
I love that. That was a really good quote. Well, that's really fun. And then how are you feeling about like a new album coming out?
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. And what does it feel like? I've only ever had like one other musician on this podcast before. But I was talking to him about like, what do you feel like when you release like that, like a body of work that's that big?
Pretty underwhelmed on the day you do it.
Really?
Well, yeah, because you just spent how many years doing it, and then your mates are there with a cherry bee. And I'm like, I'm 26. I can't keep drinking sugar in a bottle. Make me a vodka lime soda. Just fucking...
But do you feel like, okay, so for example, like some of your songs I associate so much with really intense like breakups or relationships stuff that I've gone through, which must be such a strange feeling for you that like...
because that's what music's meant to do.
Totally, but like I almost want to like tell you about like the breakups I've gone through
Sometimes I'm like tea.
Yeah. Just because that's how like I think about some of your songs.
That's a smoking area conversation,
100%.
Yeah. And I'll be there like,
that
babe. Yeah, this is actually a great example of me oversharing and then also promising things I can't do. There was a girl that started telling me about like, I don't know, her breakup or her situation. And I was like, babe, take my number. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, honestly, babe, just take it. And she was like, yeah, I just like really lose confidence at times. And I was like, I can literally text you and just like,
you know, give you a pep talk. Like a Monday morning pep talk.
And I have nothing else to say after that. Yeah. It was.
I am exactly the same, by the way.
It was really
I am exactly the same.
I felt so embarrassed with myself.
Yeah.
I felt ashamed of myself, actually.
But it's hard, isn't it? Because it's also like, you know, I had this situation in New York once where I just started talking about having had an abortion, and then a girl... And it's like with stuff like that, I feel so like a duty of care. So if anyone tells me about stuff around that, I feel like I do have to like listen to them. But this girl came up to me after a show in New York and I was like, let's go out like together. So me and this girl
because you trauma bonded.
She was trauma bonding to me. She hadn't told anyone like in her life that she'd like had an abortion. We ended up staying out till like 7 a.m. I do not know her name. I never got any of her details. I paid for the whole thing because again I was going like, no, you can't pay.
I've got you.
I want you to say like she's really generous. So I paid for this whole thing, and then by the end I was like, why am I like what? Like she's probably gonna feel really embarrassed tomorrow that like this has happened. I'm gonna feel really embarrassed tomorrow. But here we are at Soho House in Chelsea. Like, get me out of here. So I do feel like I am the same, but then that's what sort of, because you know obviously all music we associate different things to, but like your music really has been like the soundtrack to like my biggest breakup. So
I'm so sorry.
No, it's thank you for your work and thank you for your service. It really helped me through a hard period.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I could do that.
What is the I love the new song with Kano, by the way.
Thank you.
Completely obsessed with it.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, sorry, Eddie looks just like Jack Nicholson. Look, wait.
I think she looks like Nicole Kidman.
Look, tell me that's not what. Wait, is it Jack Nicholson? Yeah, it is. The one that always looks like he has crazy hair.
Yeah, but don't you
look,
think she looks like Nicole Kidman when her hair's
Are
down?
you beautiful? You're so gorgeous.
My mum came in the other day and she was like, Eddie looks so much like Nicole Kidman. And I was like, I really do see it. Like,
I think it's just the angle where
right now she looks like she's in The Shining.
Up.
Yeah.
Her ears have been up, and then the middle of her head looks bald, and she looks just like Jack Nicholson.
Baby.
Look at her. Tell me she doesn't look like Jack Nicholson. You're beautiful. Oh, you're kissing me. Oh, we're kissing.
Oh. Who would be your dream +1 to go to a party with? And it doesn't have to be someone like that you know, but someone that you think would be a really good +1.
Such a good question. Who would be my +1 at a party? Or I be their +1? Jesus Christ. That man knew how to hold a dinner party.
That's true.
So who knows what he's like after a dinner party.
At the afters, talking about the Bay of Pigs.
And also imagine how much everyone would want to just chat to him. People that loved him and hated him. And I just really enjoy that. But also wouldn't even have to bring bottles. You just get the fucking tap on, turns into wine.
Genius.
Thank you, Jesus.
I bet Jesus would have loved orange wine.
Let's not make him a natural wine guy.
I think he would have been.
Let's not make him a natural wine guy.
He would have been very sulfate free or whatever it is.
He would have just seen, he would have seen it. And actually, you know what? We need to improve the recipe.
Yeah.
I actually would go with him. And I feel like
one.
him, and I feel like Lady Gaga I would go to a party with.
She's a really good one.
Because as much as I feel like she'd be great at a party, I also think she'd be pretty real at a party and be really fun, and also just not want to hang out with everybody. I think she'd be a little bit
She'd have a good judge of character.
Very
Gaga,
good judge of character.
And I think she would not give too much energy into people she doesn't want to be talking to. Yeah.
I feel like just a very strong woman.
And I think you get to see what people are like when they're around someone like Lady Gaga is just really interesting to watch.
Yeah.
I'd feel the same about Madonna or someone. I'd be so interested to see what people...
I feel like Charlie's like that. I also feel like I have a really good friend called Bambi, who's a DJ, and she's got that energy too. I love partying with her. I know this is not, I'm not inventing the wheel here, but I do love partying with one other woman that has a big character.
I couldn't agree more.
Fun.
And then I think that's, especially if you're going somewhere where, say, you don't know a lot of people, that's the dream way to do it.
Yeah, because you don't have to be joint by the hip.
Totally. You're both trying to mingle and meet new people. You're not and going somewhere with someone who's just comfortable talking to new people is key.
It's so nice, yeah.
And then meeting back up later and being oh my God, and just recapping on crazy shit that's happened is that's my ideal. That's why I'd like to go to another country with one person, when I go on a girls trip with one person, because then we actually do just go.
I don't do groups anymore. I've had enough.
It's too much. Yeah, I'm post group holidays.
Yeah, no, we don't want that, because
I'm post being somewhere and it not just being kind of easy of if I want to do this, I can just do this. I don't like being controlled by what everybody wants to do and having to report to a jury of where we're gonna eat and where we're gonna go. I just don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't like it either. No, not for me.
Well, this has been fantastic.
Yeah, thanks.
I hope that we do get to have a party experience together one day.
Yeah, I think we will.
When
also, can Eddie come?